So the male lead's best friend, the guy that's been with him since the get-go, the one that went on the mission with him in hiding to find the main character. Well, his father tried to convince him to play the game, both fields. Play the bad guy's field and play the male lead's field. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. Specifically, he wanted him to play the main character's field. And he's like, I'm not doing that. You all think the main character's trying to steal the throne, that he's a traitorous scum, but he's not. He's just doing everything he can for this kingdom, and I want you guys to back off and stop. But I am going to go help him. I love that. I love that very much. Also, the main character's assistant who went with them to instigate the plague, he's actually a spy for the Emperor because the Emperor has become suspicious of the main character. He's full-on suspicious of the main character to the point that he sent a spy to spy on the main character. And I'm like, dude, the main character is doing everything he can to save the kingdom, and here you are thinking he's a traitorous scum. This is why your kingdom is suffering repeatedly, is because you keep being suspicious of the wrong people and not the right people. So they're taking this new fancy-dancy kite on their instigation. It's new. It's only been ever tested, never actually fully used. And I'm like, oh, this thing is going to crash, which it did crash. But they call it a kite, and I'm like, isn't it a plane? This is what the old fancy-dancy planes used to look like, right? In a way. But they call it a kite. I'm like, this is a plane. So the first town they arrived to is already taken over by Western soldiers, and everyone in that town is dead. And they capture one of the Western soldiers to get them onto the Western soldiers' ships, which they end up stealing an item from the ship. And I'm like, this was a whole cartoony scene. I was trying to figure out what was going on while also laughing. Because the hijinks that the male lead gets himself into and the way he devises his plans are always cartoony hijinks that makes me laugh my head off every single time. I did feel so sad. Even the male lead, when they arrived to this town and saw everyone dead, he was freaking out that he wouldn't be able to save his country and get his country back to being complete and safe and sound before he died. And I felt so bad for him for that. I was a little sad for him, but also laughing. I know I've said this before, but honestly, the main character in this is giving male lead from Scum Saving System, especially during these scenes, because he's doing everything he can to irritate the main character into beating him, because he's such a pain in the butt, just like the male lead from Scum Saving System. He needs to get beaten. He wants to call his male lead by the name he wants to call him, just like how the male lead wants to call the main character from Scum Saving the name he wants to call him, even though it irritates them and makes them want to beat them. And I'm like, you dudes are idiots. Idiots. So, masochistic top idiots.